Hello, fifth grade flutes. Welcome to week 5 of our flute instruction. I trust that all is going well. I know I've seen some good videos from you all. I want to encourage you all to keep practicing. So we're going to move on to some new things this week. Before we do that, I want to talk about some things that I want you to do to structure your practice, how you should practice each time. So we're going to start with a couple examples here of how I want you to start practicing, and then I'm going to have you do some of that on your own, and then we'll move on to some new music. So we're going to start today by just playing some long tones. And those long tones are going to come from your book, exercises 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. So the 5 notes that we know. What you're going to do, we'll start with, for example, the note number 1, your F. I want you to just simply play a whole note F, rest for 4 beats, play another whole note F. Okay? We're going to go ahead and do that right now. So go ahead and get your fingers on F. Okay, remember thumb, pointer, middle, ring, pointer, and pinky. Okay, and here we go. 2 whole note Fs with a rest in between. 1, 2, ready, go. Rest, 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 rest. Rest, 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 rest. Good. Now on that F, we are going to work on our tonguing, our articulation. Remember that with our tongue, we want to whisper 2 at the beginning of each note. So now instead of playing a whole note F, we're going to play 4 quarter note Fs. And remember that a quarter note is a note that gets 1 beat. So we're going to go 2, 2, 2, 2, rest, 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 rest. Do 4 more, and then 4 more beats of rest. It is important to try and do all 4 of those quarter note Fs in one continuous breath with just our tongue whispering 2 at the beginning of each note. All right, so here we go. 4 quarter note Fs, 4 beats of rest, and 4 more quarter note Fs. 1, 2, ready, go. Rest, 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 rest. Rest, 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 rest. All right, so I'm going to ask you, before you move on to the other songs in this video, to go ahead and do that with exercises 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. So play long tones on each note, 2 whole notes with a whole rest in between, and then play 4 quarter notes, 4 beats of rest, and 4 more quarter notes, focusing on using your tongue. Now, when you get to B flat and C, specifically C, the one thing I want you all to focus on this week is make sure that when you're playing C, this thumb is not touching our flute. We don't want to get in the habit of this. So we want to leave this finger curled around our flute like that, so that it rests on my pointer finger, and that holds my flute up. Notice how my other fingers are up here above my flute. I don't want to get into my hand looking like this. So keep your hands here. Okay, so now would be a good time to go ahead and pause your video and practice playing those long tones and those quarter notes on the notes that we know so far. Exercises 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. All right, welcome back. So now this is where things get exciting. We're going to move on to some songs that you're going to recognize, some songs that you will know. You may have even played these on recorders if you did recorders in 4th grade. Okay, so we are looking at page number 6, and we're going to begin with number 14, Rolling Along. All right, guys, show me the music. All right, there it is. So you can see here that Rolling Along looks a little different. It is now, rather than 1 line long, 2 lines long. And you'll also notice, like we did last week towards the end, there are no letter names in the notes. And you'll also notice that there are fewer rests in the song. So we have to focus on moving from one note to the next as we go along. Now, I know for some of you that reading the letter names is a bit of a challenge, figuring out what letter it is. So how do we practice this song? Well, we're going to start. I'm going to give you 1, 2, ready, go, and we're just going to read the letters together, okay? So I'll count 1, 2, ready, go, and you're just going to say the letter names along with me. When we get to a rest, we're going to say rest together, okay? So let's do that. Let's just read through the letters on rolling along. And keep in mind, when we get to the end of the first line, we're simply going to jump down to the second line and continue on through the second line. All right, here we go. Here's our letters. 1, 2, ready, go. D, C, B flat, C, D, 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 rest. C, 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 rest. D, F, F, rest. D, C, B flat, C, D, 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 rest. C, C, D, C, B flat, rest, rest, rest. Now, when you practice this on your own at home, the next step would be to read the letters to yourself and practice moving your fingers. D, C, B flat, C, D, and so on, to go the rest of the way through the song, to get comfortable moving those fingers. Don't necessarily jump to playing right away, okay? Now I'm going to go ahead and do a play along of rolling along for you. And it'll take you a few days of practice to most likely be able to play this with me, and that's okay, that's normal, all right? But after a few days practice, once you feel comfortable with this song, go ahead and come back to the video here and play along with me on rolling along, okay? So I'm gonna get my metronome started, and we're gonna play rolling along together, okay? And here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. How'd we do? Hopefully, we're getting better at these. We're getting more comfortable moving those fingers. All right, I want to encourage you to practice this song throughout the week. All right, so moving on to our next concept. A little ways down on the page, on page 6 for you in your book, you will see that there's a yellow box. I'm going to put that up on the screen here. And you'll notice that we now have half notes. We've done whole notes, which are that empty oval, gets 4 beats. We've done quarter notes, which are a filled in note with a stem coming out of it. That's 1 beat. A half note looks like a quarter note, except the note head is now empty with a stem coming out of it. And you can see up here in the yellow box that our half note gets 2 beats. It's a longer sound. So rather than 2, 2, 2, they go 2, 2, longer sound, right? You can also see up here that there's a half rest. It looks like a little box that sits on top of the line up there. That rest gets 2 beats. Okay, I do want to point out that it is different than a whole rest. A whole rest looks like a little box too. However, a whole rest hangs underneath the line. A whole rest looks like a hole in the ground. A half rest looks like a hat. A whole rest gets an entire measure. A half rest gets 2 beats, okay? And so now we're gonna go ahead and move on to a song that uses some of those half rests. So we're gonna go ahead and take a look at Hot Cross Buns. Let's go ahead and get that one up here. All right, you can see that. Seriously, are you serious right now? Let's try it again. So you can see. Really, guys? All right, so you can see that Hot Cross Buns begins with 3 half notes, okay? Each of those notes gets 2 beats. After those 3 half notes, we have a half rest, okay, which is resting for 2 beats. So let's do this. You'll notice that as you look through here, there are only 3 different letters in the song: D, C, and B flat. So here's what I want you to do. I'm going to count 1, 2, ready, go. We are going to simply read the letters for hot cross buns, okay? Just to practice getting comfortable reading those letters. So here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. D, C, B flat. Rest, rest. D, C, B flat. Rest, rest. B flat, B flat, B flat, B flat, C, 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 D, C, B flat. Rest, rest. All right, so now we're going to go ahead, and again, this may take a little practice to get to the point where you can play with me, but I'm going to go ahead and put a play along for hot cross buns on here. So once you get comfortable with the fingers, you can go ahead and play along with me on this song. All right? So let me get our metronome started. I do want you, as you play, to make sure that you focus on whispering 2 with your tongue at the beginning of every single note, okay? And we're going to try and play all 3 of those half notes at the beginning, all in one breath. All right? So here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Rest, rest. How'd we do? Hopefully we made it through that one. All right, so Rolling Along and Hot Cross Buns are the 2 songs I want you to practice this week. Now, if you get really, really good at those 2 songs, you can go ahead and take a look at the next song I'm going to show you, and that's going to be Go Tell Aunt Roadie. Now, you don't need to record Go Tell Aunt Roadie to Flipgrid this week. This is just, if you get really comfortable with those first 2 songs, you can go ahead and take a look at this song. We're going to all do Go Tell Aunt Roadie next week, okay? But for those of you who are feeling confident, let's go ahead and get Go Tell Aunt Roadie up here, and we'll give it a try. All right, so there it is. You'll notice that this one uses a lot, actually all the notes we know, okay? And it moves from note to note to note. Very few rests in the song. In fact, there aren't any rests until you get to the very end, all right? You'll also notice at the end of the song, there is a repeat sign. Today, we are not going to repeat that song. We're just going to play it once. And again, if you don't get to this song this week, that's totally fine, okay? For those of you who are ready for Go Tell Aunt Roadie, let's go ahead and do a play along with Go Tell Aunt Roadie this week. All right? And here we go. We start with a D. 1, 2, ready, go. All right, there's Go Tell Aunt Roadie. So what do you need to be working on this week? Well, you're going to warm up with those long tones and those quarter note exercises for 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. Then you're going to practice Merrily We Roll Along, Rolling Along, and Hot Cross Buns, okay? I want you to record those 2 songs to Flipgrid this week, okay? And then if you feel really confident and really comfortable with those, go ahead and start taking a look at Go Tell Aunt Roadie. You do not have to record that one to Flipgrid this week. All right? So keep practicing, guys. Keep up the good work. And I look forward to seeing your videos once you get those songs learned. Have fun this week.